Welcome back to Sportsnet Central GMAG. I'm your host, Renelle. When the Giants moved to their new China Basin ballpark in 2000, the right field gate sat adjacent to the Lefty O'Doul Bridge. As a tribute to the man once synonymous with San Francisco baseball, the Giants named it the O'Doul Gate. Primarily known as the namesake of the popular restaurant, Lefty's accolades and accomplishments remain largely unknown to a new generation of baseball fans. And so we left it up to our own Jamie Sire to reverse that very trend.
Francis Joseph O'Doul was born in San Francisco on March 4th, 1897. After playing for his hometown San Francisco Seals, O'Doul had little success as a major league pitcher. But a second stint in the minors transformed him into one of the game's great hitters.
His pitching was mediocre, to say the least, and that's why he came back down in the minors after a few years as a pitcher, worked on his hitting, went back up with the Giants in '28 as a hitter.
In 1929, won a batting title for the Philadelphia Phillies. He got 254 hits, hit over 30 home runs, and struck out less than 20 times. No one has done that since.
While his major league career flourished, O'Doul also saw the importance of spreading baseball around the world and made a series of trips to Japan.
His first trip was in 1931, and he kept going back because they were so receptive to the tutoring. But after the 31 trip, the Japanese all said, "Where's Babe Ruth? You know, why isn't Babe Ruth coming?" And being close friends with Ruth, he was able to get Ruth to go on the 34 tour, which was huge. And I mean, the Japanese still talk about it.
His American team always beating Japanese teams completely. So Japanese baseball people realized how much they have to improve in order to catch up to American baseball.
O'Doul was hired as manager of the Seals in 1935 and won the PCL championship in his very first season. He spent 17 years at the helm of the Seals and was universally known as one of the game's great managers.
He was an easy guy to work for, I think, you know. He wasn't real demanding, but basically he knew the game and he knew how to move people around. And he knew how to antagonize the umpires.
And he was a great showman. One of his great tricks, he got mad at the umpire. He'd run out there and face head down, kicking dirt all over and say, "Where are we going to eat tomorrow night?"
See, some managers, when you're going good, well, they'll say hello to you, take you to breakfast in the morning. When you're going bad, they don't talk to you. When you're going good, you don't need the manager to slap you on the back. It's when you're going bad, and when the manager need the manager to slap you on the back and take you to breakfast.
In 1949, just a few years after World War II ended, O'Doul went back to Japan with the Seals for a series of exhibitions. His impact on Japanese baseball was eventually recognized with this posthumous induction into the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame.
He was a diplomat. He was the father of baseball in Japan. And what he did after World War II, the atomic bomb was dropped on Japan, and there was a Great Depression in Japan. But baseball was always a big part of the culture of Japan. Lefty understood that.
The older Japanese remember him very well. I went to Tokyo just after '02, so probably '04, '03. And they remembered him, they talked about him, you know. There was one gentleman was an announcer, a radio announcer in Japan, and didn't speak a lot of English, but we had a great conversation. He was 91 years old, and he remembered the '49 tour, and he remembered him being there in the '30s even.
Following his retirement from the game, O'Doul cemented his legacy in San Francisco by opening a restaurant across from Union Square. The popular establishment thrives today more than 40 years after O'Doul's passing.
He had a bar on Powell Street. It's called Lefty's. It was a little hole-in-the-wall bar. And so when he got out of baseball, you know, to a point, he said, "Oh, I'm going to expand and open a restaurant."
But it's comforting to know the legacy of Lefty O'Doul still lives on through the restaurant. And it's a great landmark. It's a great place to see the old pictures of baseball. And it's a living monument to Lefty O'Doul. It keeps his name alive.
Despite Lefty's career achievements, both home and abroad, there's still one honor that eludes him.
He should be recognized by the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. He's in the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame, but not in Cooperstown. Come on. He's one of the dramatic people in the game of baseball. He was a great diplomat. His influence was worldwide, spread around the world. He changed the culture of global baseball, what we have now, and Bud Selig loves the globalization of baseball. It all started with Lefty O'Doul.
Thanks, Jamie. Lefty might be the pioneer of baseball in the Bay, but there have been plenty of legendary pros to follow. Joltin' Joe DiMaggio hails from San Francisco, spending his entire 13-year career with the Yankees. Frank Robinson, Joe Morgan, and Rickey Henderson are all natives of Oakland, each of them leaving behind tremendous legacies. And the home run king, Barry Bonds, of course, attended Serra High School while residing in San Carlos. And last but certainly not least, the big unit, Randy Johnson, spent his younger years in Livermore.